Yes. Oh, we're on. Hi, everyone. My name is Chelsea. Thank you for joining us. It's a bit weird not being able to see everyone's faces and just seeing my colleagues. But I'm the early careers lead at Skyscanner. I've been here for just over a year now and absolutely love it. In this webinar, you'll be learning more about Skyscanner from Myra, along with her own career journey. And following this, we'll have an interactive panel discussion with Aparna, James, and Adam to discover firsthand about or around what their experience has been like joining Skyscanner as a graduate this year. So with that, I'm handing over to Myra. I think you're still on mute, Myra, or are you waiting for the presentation? 2 minutes. Cool. Sorry, everyone. I think we're just having a technical difficulty there.
Sorry, no, what happened is I was watching a video pre this and it just decided to play and I couldn't find it. So yes, I apologise.
In our defence, this is the first time we've used this platform. So
I'm not at my normal desk either, so it makes it a little bit harder. So, yes.
Connor, can we pull up the presentation, please?
Perfect. Super. So yes, so I apologise for the slight technical issues to start with. It wouldn't be a good presentation without a few technical hitches. So it's my absolute pleasure to be with you all. As Chelsea said, it's really hard not to see people. So I hope everybody can hear and see everything. So yeah, I'll just do a quick introduction. I am Myra Fulton. I'm one of the VPs of engineering here in Skyscanner. And yes, Chelsea said, here just to chat to you a little bit about who Skyscanner are, and also just a little bit of my journey that's kind of led me to this role here. So I'm going to just talk about who we are as a business, what our mission is, what our products, just give you a little bit of insight into some of the products that we work with. I can't cover everything, but we'll touch just on a few of them, and then just what it's like to be in engineering at Skyscanner, how we structure, how we operate ourselves, and then we'll just touch finally on my journey, and then we can hand over for the panel discussion. So who are we? We are a global travel marketplace with local expertise. And the local expertise for us is really, really important, that no matter where you are in the world, when you come onto Skyscanner, we want to make sure that we give you that local experience and that local feeling. So just some interesting numbers. You may know some of this, but actually just the size. We have 100 million peak monthly active users, so a massive audience when it comes to our travel base. We are live in 30 different languages. We have 100 million app downloads and 1,200 partners that we actually work with to really get out the best deals on travel for people. What are we actually here to do? So I love this. This is about, we're really here to help every traveller explore our world effortlessly for generations to come. And that effortlessly is super important to us as a business. We want to make the complex simple, as well as ensure that we can do it for generations to come, and really thinking of that sustainability piece. So that's really our vision within the business, something we're really striving to do. And what we have under that is we have our mission of how we're actually going to be able to do it. So we are on a mission to help travellers plan and book their trip with ease and confidence, whether that's hotels, flights or car hire. So really trying to go across the whole travel spectrum. We use the complex, we don't use the complex, we use technology to make the complex simple, and connecting our travellers with trusted partners. And how we do that is we provide honest and transparent solutions to everyone, so they can find the best offers for them. So just a little bit about our journey. Skyscanner actually was born with three friends. Gareth was really keen, one of our founders, was really keen to go and visit his brother to go skiing, but found it really difficult to find flights and do comparisons. And through that problem, back in 2003, Skyscanner was born. And throughout our journey, a couple of kind of key points I'll just touch through. And you might have seen one of our really kind of unique features, that search everywhere. So if you're really not sure where you want to go, you can put in your destination, your starting airport, and then you can basically pick anywhere, and it will basically bring you back all the different solutions there are, different flights that you can gather. So just a really interesting feature which was launched back in 2006 and is definitely one of our most used features as part of the product. As I said at the start, 2009, we went into 30 languages. We launched our first app in 2011. And then we introduced hotels and cars back in 2013 and 14. And in 2016, we were acquired by Ctrip, now known as Trip.com. And in 2018, it was the first of 3 consecutive years where we got the accolades for the best comparison site. And then in that 2019 was our first 100 million users on our site as well. And then in 2020, launched a number of B2C and B2B product innovations during the pandemic. Obviously, as we can imagine, for travel and the pandemic was really, really difficult. So we had to be super innovative for our partners as well as our travellers to really help them through that process. And then from 2021 right the way through to today, we're really on that kind of supporting our industry on the recovery as well. So it's been a phenomenal journey throughout Skyscanner since that 2003 to where our product is today. I talked about that kind of generations to come. So we have a really big sustainable journey within Skyscanner. In 2018, we launched our eco tag for really to help people, allow them to make those sustainable choices when it comes to travel as well. And I won't go through all of this because there's a lot in here, but really sustainability is at the heart of everything that we do within the business, which I think is so important given the industry that we're in. Again, to really help us bring our mission and our vision to life, we are very much about traveller first. Everyone on this call is a traveller. We all love to travel to explore. So actually we want to make sure the products that we build and the services we provide out are really traveller first. And I'm really proud to work for a company that does make choices that go traveller first. We then move to kind of partner second to ensure that we are doing the right thing with our partners. And again, that also helps with our travellers as well to make sure we can get best supply and information out to them, with Skyscanner third. If our traveller wins, our partner wins, and so does Skyscanner. And yeah, just so kind of as I talked about, we do put that traveller first in absolutely everything that we do in our thoughts and our journeys. What we also want to do is make that kind of travel, and we talked about that, making the kind of complex simple. So we want to make sure that we are continually optimizing our booking. These are just a couple of kind of screenshots of what our app looked like as well, just around that app and web experience to really keep that kind of planning process for trips to be as simple as possible. And a couple of kind of interesting, did you know, as I said, we've been named the best comparison site, as well as we actually power searches for Microsoft, Yahoo and Samsung. So we've got those really good kind of business to business connections. And we're actually, our data, so our flight search data is unrivaled due to our global coverage that we cover worldwide. We're not just one particular market as well. And since the pandemic, we've helped over 600 partners really start to come back into the kind of travel recovery space. So what about our product? So that's actually about why we're here and what we're here to try and do, but what about our product? So our most important thing is we are here to help and provide advice for travellers. And I'm just going to ask Connor to put on a little bit of a video. This is one of our latest kind of social campaigns. And I thought it was just a really good way to bring to life what kind of Skyscanner's all about.
So it's your turn to plan a family holiday, but where to start? Simple. The fortress of infinite options.
Or you could just use Explore Everywhere on Skyscanner.
Skyscanner? Is that a magical character from the unknown forest?
No. Explore Everywhere lets you search for unbelievable prices for flights to hidden gems all over the world. It's perfect when you don't know where to go.
Kids, you can play Daddy's travel game now! Except for you, Ernie. You're still in timeout.
Super, thanks. So yeah, just to give you a little bit of the kind of fun that we have within kind of Skyscanner as well, it is a new one of our social campaigns. That was one that we just launched out in Canada as well. So really there to provide all the right help and advice for travellers. Obviously product innovations as well. We are really about ensuring that we can be very innovative within our product. And as I touched on as well, again, throughout the kind of pandemic, we had to be really kind of quick. The market was changing. We started to launch a COVID map, and obviously now as we're starting to come back into travel, there is still a number of kind of guidelines we have to follow regarding the country that we're coming to. So it's really important for us that we provide that information to our travellers. So to be able to actually create that product innovation really quickly and up to date, so you do know if there's any particular kind of COVID guidance that you have to follow. It's just one example of some of the innovation. We're also really big on data. And our data insights, and we're trusted in a number of different industries to help really shape where travel is coming, and we share a lot of our data of what we are seeing. We saw, especially for example, when markets started to reopen, this spike in our travel, and that demand is definitely there for travel to come back with. So really helping the industry as well start to shape what travel looks like. And finally, supporting our partners. Obviously we wouldn't be here without our partners and the supply that they provide for us, so it's really important that we also again provide them the data to let them understand. So for example, potentially an airport to understand what's the right routes that they potentially want to reopen if their travellers are really looking for a particular space. So really we start with our traveller really at the heart, ensure we've got the right product innovations in there to make sure we're delivering on the right product, and then we use our data to ensure that informs our right decisions, as well as helping and supporting our partners. So that's a little bit about just who we are as a product and as a business. But Skyscanner, right? So Skyscanner and engineering, what does that kind of look like? So what do we do to really help us in that mission to allow every traveller to explore our world effortlessly for generations to come? So we create teams, we call them kind of large teams are called squads, and then we've got our tribes where we've got a number of squads attached to them. And how we've actually structured is we collate common domains. So our domain is that logical grouping of components, responsibilities and plans owned by single squads, within which priority calls can be made accordingly. So we really want people to feel that they've got really great ownership of the domains that they own. For example, we have a B2B API, and that's owned by one particular squad, and that allows them to make the right calls of the right priorities and what's the right product features, as well as ensuring we have a really healthy tech stack within that. And then we have a number of squads that roll up into tribes. How we plan, we've got a really kind of clear strategy, and we look at really having really clear plans for 12 weeks. We then have a bigger, longer, between 3 to 9 months, a lot of a wider kind of planning, because obviously things change. We want to make sure we've got a lot of kind of agility in there to make changes. And then anything 9 months plus is a lot kind of longer into that kind of space. So we've got some really good high level ideas, but obviously as we work through the months, they then become a lot more kind of formal. We work under a really operating model called GOST. So we look after our goals. We have high level goals, objective strategies, and then into tactics. And most squads will work from a product delivery point of view into those kind of tactics. And we structure ourselves in 7 kind of really key goal areas. So our audience growth, we want to ensure that we can continue to grow our audience and make that 100 million users even more. We want to make sure that we've got a really trusted marketplace for flights, as well as beyond flights or car hire and hotels as well. And our sustainable revenue, it's also about ensuring that we have a really good sustainable revenue model to ensure that we bring revenue back into the business. Our understand is really all about our data and how we better understand our travellers, which then enables us to build better products. And we have a whole kind of enable team which look after all of our development and how we can enable and make that faster and increase our velocity, as well as the enablement for the full of our organisation to make sure that we've got everything that we need to do our jobs. And we have empower, and that's really about our people kind of focus as well. So how do we go about kind of mastering our craft to deliver a kind of world-leading product at scale? So I want to kind of just zoom in just to give everybody a bit of an idea of, we've got a number of disciplines across the full organisation. You can see that down the left-hand side, in a number of different locations across the world. But I'll just zoom in a little bit into the engineering space. So we have multiple disciplines within engineering. We've got software engineers, app engineers, system engineers, data engineers, security, and obviously our leadership team, which I take part in there. And in our locations for engineering, we have London, Edinburgh, Shenzhen, Barcelona, and Glasgow. So a really nice kind of location for all a number of engineers, as well as multiple disciplines within engineering also. Just wanted to share a little bit of some of the technologies. Some of this may be familiar to you, some of it may be new, but the technologies that we look at for our back-end services, web, obviously for data, machine learning, our tools, native apps, service infrastructure, and our cloud infrastructure. So a number of different technologies that we really leverage to allow us to build that world-class product. And even we really value what tools we do for our engineers as well. And just as an example of one of the things we're doing, we're currently rolling out all M1 laptops or MacBooks out to all our teams as well, to really make sure we've got the right tools and at our fingertips to build the right products. So our tribes, we've got a number of engineering tribes that I go across it. I talked there about the kind of 7 areas. We don't have any engineering teams completely aligned into the Empower, but we've just got, I've just kind of shown this up, I don't know if it's very clear at the bottom, but again, in each of these tribes, there's a mixture of front end, back end, mobile engineers across the board, and then into the enable space, we have our systems engineers, software engineers, and security, and then understand a number of data engineers. But across all of our spaces, we've got multiple disciplines as well. How we actually build software, we're actually really defined by our engineering principles that we have, that we want to make sure that we are starting to dive into that world-class engineering space. And we have really good guiding principles to ensure that we're all adhered to the way that we actually deliver our products and right back out to our traveller. So that's really all about like how we're kind of structured, a little bit about all the different technologies that we have. But I just wanted to show we have actually a lot of fun in Skyscanner, a lot of different kind of benefits that we have. There's just actually a picture right in the middle there, which looks lovely and sunny. We have a benefit called C, which is Skyscanner Explore, which actually allows you to go and work in any of our offices and actually just basically explore that country. So it's a great opportunity. I was in Barcelona last week, and one of our bar engineers were actually over there and working in Barcelona for 4 weeks. So it's a phenomenal thing. We are travellers and we really value that. We spend a lot of time, some of these pictures are here, is our summer barbecue. We had a strategy event last week, and again, some really great parties there. We're also really valuable in actually giving back as well. So right in the middle, you can probably see a couple of people doing some DIY. That was our one day where we actually give back 1 day a year back to charity. As a whole company, we look for local charities that we can give back to. Represented at the Pride Parade as well, I think in Edinburgh, as well as conferences within the offices, and do a lot of kind of meetups to really help share and build our overall engineering community within our offices. So we have lots of fun, definitely within the team as well. So it's not all hard work. So I'll just touch a little bit on kind of my journey kind of so far, where what have I done to kind of get here, and I'll share some of the stories that kind of got me here. So I was coming to the end of 6th year, wasn't quite sure what to do, really took the kind of wanted to go down into kind of the hospitality, wanted to go into managed hotels, and then decided one day, actually, that's definitely not what I wanted to do, and I wanted to go and actually come into technology. And I was definitely a problem solver and loved the thought of being able to program to solve problems. So went and completed my degree in classical Caledonian, and then did a full year's internship at IBM, which was really amazing. Spent a lot of time, at that point in time, IBM were still very a production site, so spent a lot of time on understanding processes, and that was my first ever experience of Agile and really kind of lean and kind of Kaizen processes. So definitely a really strong foundation for constantly looking for ways to improve. And again, that problem solver in me really was kind of sold in all of those different parts. When I graduated with my honours degree, I decided I wanted to do a grad programme. So came into the Clydesdale Bank at the time to do my grad programme, which was 2 years, and kind of similar to the team that are here on a rotation basis as well. So similar to our grad programme here in Skyscanner is we want to do that rotation to give people that kind of wider experience and opportunity and exposure. So I had a variety of different roles, but again, that problem solver in me was really kind of strong. So went in to look after problem and incident management, so really understanding when things broke, what do we do to fix them, what were the root causes, and really trying to dive really deep into that. Quite quickly I moved into a management role, which was my first experience of managing people. It was an operations team, so it was a 24/7 team, a whole different experience when you were managing people that you hardly saw, and it was like a 1 in 3 that you would have a chance to see them. So definitely learned a few lessons in that kind of people management role. And then kind of moved on. I'll kind of touch the next one that's probably really important, that kind of really sticks with me, is my core banking experience. That was in to manage a full development team. And at the time we were going through, I looked after the mortgage team within the bank, and we found out that we were incorrectly charging interest to people on their mortgages. So it was not an easy problem to find. So we spent a lot of time trying to work out what had gone wrong. And yes, we made front headline news about really kind of coming out to people and saying, really sorry, we've not charged you enough for your mortgage. So that was a really tough time to kind of work through with the team, but again, learned lots throughout that process. And then came back, and kind of my final role in the bank was into kind of a service support manager, so looking after first, second, kind of third line kind of teams before it went into the development team. And in the bank we operated quite a traditional, how I would kind of describe it, very different to Skyscanner. We had our development team, we had our test team, and then we had our kind of first to third line support in there, but had lots of fun in the bank, but a very different industry. So decided in kind of 2012 I'd actually had enough of banking, so wanted to do something different, and this company appeared, kind of Skyscanner. Hadn't really heard of them, didn't really know who they were, but read the job and thought, that's my next job, that's the job that I'm going to go for. So in 2013 I came to join again into that kind of service support manager kind of role, problem instant change, and really from there my career has really accelerated from that kind of manager right up to where I am today, and that was through the opportunities that I've been given as part of this organisation. When I joined there was only 200 people, we're now over 1,200 people within the organisation, so I've gone through a journey of phenomenal growth within the organisation, and with that just brings phenomenal opportunities. So yes, it started in kind of service support and then went into look after translation management. Had only worked in a bank that was based in Scotland, so was not used to having to do translations. So that was a massive learning curve, definitely for me to really understand how does that come together, what's the context for translations, where it becomes really, really important. Just something I'd never experienced, but a phenomenal experience while I was here. Moved in to look after our IT team, so more into that systems engineering kind of space, and then got the opportunity to look after our office teams as well, so did a little bit of facilities, so really kind of widened my scope, and again, just right opportunities at the right time to really kind of allow me on a bit of a development opportunity. And then in 2019 I was like, actually I want to go back to more of a software team and back into a product team. So come in to look after our modern ads team, which are responsible for ensuring we can build really good ad products and to be able to allow our partners to really start to drive revenue from them, from our ads. So that was really great, and then very quickly became our modern ads and data products, where I became senior director. And then over that time, again looking after a number of different projects, coming in to be our GOST engineering lead for both audience and sustainable revenue at the start of this year. So I was kind of thinking, what kind of lessons learned, what would I kind of pass on to anybody? We will all make mistakes in our career, right? What I would always say is, we say failure is really good, and actually within our organisation here, we kind of celebrate our failures and we want to continue to learn, but they're still hard, okay? Even though we want to fail forward, failures are really, really hard, but it's truly where you grow the most. And if I think back of my career, it's those failures that have taught me just how to think about it. When everything is easy, it's great, but actually some of those failures are the real kind of deep core learning. say yes to opportunities that excite you and make you nervous in equal measures. I think that's my biggest kind of piece, is I was given lots of opportunities, a lot I could have said no to, but by saying yes, and that kind of excitement and kind of nerves really helped me kind of grow in my career. And there's always something to learn. I don't think we ever stop learning. And I think in Skyscanner especially, it feels like every day's a school day. I learn something new every single day. And with that really just helps you build your career as well. So I hope that's been useful. I hope that's kind of helped just give you a little bit of insight into Skyscanner. And then I'm going to hand back to Chelsea to let her do the panel.
Awesome. Thank you. Can you hear me again? Am I back?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. Before we move into the panel with Aparna, James, and Adam, does anyone have any questions for Myra on her presentation? It's already a question that came through, but I don't think it could be directed at everyone. Why don't we just start with introductions then? What you do at Skyscanner, how long you've been here, and just anything about you, and then we can move on to the questions in the chat. Aparna, do you want to kick off?
Sure, I can do that. My name is Aparna. I work in a backend squad, specifically in production platform. And I've been here for a little over 2 months now, so still very new. But yeah, I'll hand it off to Adam.
Yeah, I'm Adam. Also been here just over 2 months. I think this is a common thread between the three of us. I work in a backend squad on production platform, just opposite Aparna. Some really interesting stuff there, and I'll pass it over to James.
Hi everyone, I'm James. I'm working in a mobile app squad, specifically taking care of the user's search experience, including things like the homepage. I've also been here 2 months, joined on the same grad scheme as Aparna and Adam. Yeah, that's all for me. Thank you.
Cool, thank you. As a reminder, I look after the graduate program, so I look after the recruitment and the current cohort that we have at the moment. So Aparna, James, Adam. Yeah, so the first question that came in, I think it would probably be best for Myra, but would you say Skyscanner is a travel or tech company?
Yeah, I think we're definitely a tech company that's in travel, is the best way that we would describe it. If we think about our kind of percentages, we're probably about 55, maybe 60% engineering. So definitely very much that tech business that's in travel. And that was definitely one of the things that really excited me to come and work for Skyscanner, is I wanted to work for a company that was tech, and where actually we were the one that were driving the products that made all the money, rather than from a bank perspective. The technology was the one that took the money away from the shareholders, where actually we are 100% the technology that helps drive the business. So yeah, definitely a tech business.
Cool. The next question is, what kind of technical and soft skills are looked at when interviewing a candidate? Also, what is preferred, more prior experience or skill set? That's probably for me. So our interview process is, you apply. Also, the next question is when our graduate schemes will be posted, hopefully by the first week of December. But if you just keep an eye on our website, they'll come up. Also, if you want to email me and like register your interest, I can add you to a mailing list and can send out those application forms as soon as it goes up. But our interview process is application, a coding test for the engineers. It's normally just a 1-hour online test through our platform with Hired. If you pass that test, it's a call with me, which is normally pretty chilled, just getting to know you a bit more, and you getting to know us a bit more. And if you're successful there, you're invited to, also, I don't really know where to look when it's just you guys. And then the last stage is an assessment center, and we call it a discovery day. So that's a full day event where you come into our office. There's about 12 graduates in, and the morning exercise is a group exercise where you're purely assessed on how you work in a team. That's really important to us. And the afternoon sessions are individual culture and technical interviews. The culture interview, as you like, a common theme is culture is really important. So that's the first call with me, the morning group exercise, and then another culture interview. And then you have your technical interview, which is a technical challenge that is designed every week by our engineers. And you work with your interviewer to solve that problem together using a whiteboard for pseudocode. So it's not a coding like interview. It's more trying to articulate what you're thinking. So I wouldn't say that there's a preferred technical or technical skills that we look for, really. I think it's more about like what you can bring. Like, we're really unique. There's not really a certain personality type that we look for either. Everyone just brings their own self, I guess, for lack of a better word. Myra, do you want to add anything in there?
No, I think that's absolutely. I think that the culture piece is really, really important, and I think it's one of the things I didn't probably touch much on is our culture is really, really strong within Skyscanner. It's a very collaborative culture as well, and that's a couple of things we really kind of look for, is that kind of team players. And I don't know if any of the team that have just gone through those interviews want to share a little bit about that experience as well, because we try and make all of this as easy as possible for people, and it's not about kind of quick fire. We're not trying to catch people out. It's just, that's not the company we are at all. It's really about the right kind of culture, people that are collaborative, looking for those kind of solutions for problems as well. And then as you come into the business, it's really our job to help you on that training journey as well. And I think that's one of the really nice things about the rotation, is you then get to experience multiple places. Like, if you've heard, both Aparna and Adam are both in prod platform, James is an app, and again, if we were probably to do this call in 6 months' time, they'll be in a different location as well. So really, it's that, I think it's your mindset definitely that kind of brings to that makes, and the culture for us, definitely. Cool. I don't know if any of the team want to chat just about their experience.
I think going back to the comment that Chelsea just answered there, to bring my 2 sentences, is that what I found with Skyscanner is they're not trying to trip you up. When you're going to a lot of these roles, you'll see people saying that you have to do late code for 4 hours a day, and you must know everything off the top of your head. And that's what I realized really quickly with Skyscanner, is the interview's not trying to trip you up, and they have to make sure that you have some technical understanding there, but someone who can rhyme off every algorithm that you've ever seen in a textbook, you don't need that. Problem solving, and I think the cultural point is brilliant. I haven't worked in a company that's had, not that I've worked in that many, but I haven't worked in a company that's this welcoming and opening to everyone. So brilliant from that side of things as well.
I just want to add one more point about, again, not, like, interviewers not trying to trip you up, because in my personal experience in my technical interview, I got super nervous, where like I reached a point where I just kept dropping the marker, and the interviewers told me to stop and just breathe and then continue. So like, they're always there to just try and help you do the best you can. So I would say, even if you're nervous, like, they know like you're interviewing for a role, so they're not going to hold that against you. So I would say just be yourself, and like Adam said, have some technical understanding, but don't worry too much.
Yeah, if I add anything about the interview process, the thing I found was that I think they really appreciated if you're in a group interview, if you actually work as a group. A lot of people go into a group interview and they think it's their time to shine or outdo others. But I think the reason that they have those kind of interviews, not just at Skyscanner, but in any place, is to see how you can actually interact with each other and help to build something that's bigger than all the individual parts. So I think when you're going to this thing, just try to think, have the mentality of how can we work together to create something great, rather than how can I look the best in this group interview. And it's a mentality shift, but I think it will definitely help you.
Cool, thank you. Myra, I'm going to come to you for this question because I'm not sure on it, but how much emphasis do we have, I guess, or put on marketing and consumer data analysis?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm going to try and answer this, George. If I don't answer it as you expect, just ping back in the chat. So yeah, we do. We look at a number of data points. One part I didn't kind of cover when I was talking about the different disciplines that we have. We've got data science, as well as we've got bar analytics as well. So actually data is really, really important. One of the areas that I look after from an engineering point is actually our audience teams. There's a big kind of marketing kind of data there. So actually what we do on a month-on-month basis is we look at all of our metrics. So we look at all of our marketing data. We also look at trends as well. We don't just look internally, we look externally as well. So where is our share of voice? Where is our share of the traveller? And all of the travel market place as well. And actually, before we decide to do any kind of product, we will then go and do kind of user research and understand what is it that travellers are really, really looking for. What are the problems other tools out there aren't solving to allow us to really drive that into our business and start to drive those products that we really, really want to create. So yeah, we do have a really kind of big emphasis on data, as well as kind of all our kind of marketing and external analytics as well.
Thank you. Summer internships. I'm being asked this question a lot recently. We are unsure if we're taking on summer interns just yet. Most likely we are, but it's still in discussion of what our entire package will be for next year. So again, if you're interested, I would pop me an email. I can share my email address on this chat, and I can add your name to the register your interest link or page that I have going. And whether we do decide to go forward with internships or we don't, I'll still get in touch with you to let you know. But we should know by beginning of December, fingers crossed. And let's see. And yes, it could be for someone in their first or second year. So I think your question around, it's a rundown for a dev role. What about analytics? All our interview process for all the grads are the same. So the only difference if you're interviewing for a non-engineering role would be that you skip the coding test. The first step would be a call with me. If that goes well, then the next step is like a depth of expertise interview with one of the hiring managers. And that is kind of in place of the coding test. And then if that goes well, you're invited to the discovery day. So same process, just slight tweaks. What are the jobs you have in your company? We have loads. If you go onto our website, we're hiring like across the board all the time. So it's not just graduate roles. I look after just the graduates, but there are loads of roles all over Skyscanner. I think at the moment, where's the real focus at the moment, Myra? I think it's more like engineering managers, maybe.
Yeah, so we've always got kind of engineering roles open, again, being the largest discipline in the organisation. We normally always have roles open available in there, kind of a variation of levels, or kind of so basically from a software engineer kind of right the way up, we've got a number of manager roles just now, as well as senior engineering managers, as well as IC, so individual contributor roles there as well.
Graduate roles, if they open up in December, I've penciled in when the assessment centres will take place, and they'll probably take place from the end of January through to about April, so about 2 a month. So depending on if you apply and if you get through to that stage, you would be put into one of those discovery days. And feedback after our interviews are always 2 to 3 days, so you always hear back from us 2 to 3 days after every stage. Yes, you can apply to the graduate program after taking a gap year. You can apply like a few years after you've graduated too, so that's fine. How often do you hire for experienced roles? All the time, but just not me. I look after the graduates. Work experience, business management. Yes, so work experience again is just, we're still deciding what we're going to be offering next year. So if you just send me an email, I can add you to that list I've mentioned and get in touch about that. But yes, business management students, yes. If someone has had no prior internship experience, will they still be? Yes, of course. So whether you have internship experience or you don't, you can still apply for the graduate scheme. Mohammed, I'm not sure I understand your question. Following the LinkedIn, it will be available over there. I'm not sure if you want to try.
I wonder if that's about the jobs. So potentially there's a link in LinkedIn for jobs. Can you put your I think that's how I kind of read that. So yeah.
My LinkedIn.
I'm assuming it's Skyscanner's LinkedIn.
Skyscanner's LinkedIn. Okay. Yeah, cool. I can do that. Do you know how many graduates you usually hire? So usually 20. In the past, it was a lot higher, but we're still, I guess, finding our feet again. After we had like a bit of a break during COVID. So this is the first cohort we've brought back in, and then we'll start building it back up. And yes, I can put my mail on. Okay, so question from me for the team. Thinking back to your first couple months at Skyscanner or weeks, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Yeah, sure. I guess I could try to answer this one. So what I find at Skyscanner, I think what Myra said as well, is that there are so many opportunities and there's so many things to learn, and you'll be given those opportunities. People will just openly try to help you and try to give you those opportunities. So what I would say is definitely be flexible and open to learning new things. But at the same time, you do have certain goals and probably things that you want to focus on, or things that between you and your manager you're thinking of focusing on. So I think there has to be definitely a balance between saying yes and no to new things. And the no is a thing that we don't really think about. And the reason I say that is because you could find yourself overwhelmed with just a number of things that are to learn and to get to grips with, and you're sending your mind in so many different directions. I mean, this field is endless, and at Skyscanner we're doing rotations. You could just go in any direction. So I would say try to find that balance between being flexible, being open, and also having a bit of focus in terms of your direction. Yeah, that'll be it.
I'll hop in. Mine's probably quite similar to James here. It's I think it's 3 silos: knowing what I know, as well as what I don't know, what I should know, and what I want to know. I think there's 3 separate things there, because in my first few weeks I came in and I was like, oh, that's shiny, let's go learn about that. And once you learn about one thing, it splits off and it splits off. So I realized, a month in, I was like, right, okay, I'm not going to be able to know everything about everything in this engineering principle. So it's sort of knowing what I need to know from my team's perspective, and then knowing I also want to learn this on the side, and managing that in different ways. And then also knowing what you don't know. You learn a lot of stuff at university, but you also don't learn a lot of stuff you miss out in university. So we've got a lot of very intelligent people working at this company, and extracting as much information as you can from them is brilliant. So I think that's it. Opana?
I'm just trying to think, and I don't think I would change anything, but at the same time, I agree entirely with what James and Adam just said, because it can be very easy to get lost when you just look up Confluence, which is where we have all of our documents and like information, whatever you want to look up in Skyscanner. It's very easy to just go down a rabbit hole of information, and you have to like find out, like you have to like call it at some point, okay, this is where I have to stop and like stop looking into this. So as personally wouldn't change anything, but at the same time, it is important to prioritize what you need at a certain time.
Cool. And what is your favorite thing about working here for all of you?
Yeah, so for me, I'd have to definitely say it's the people. I think that Skyscanner's interview process and just a general process kind of attracts and brings in people that are easy to work with and really just fun to work with. So in my team in particular, I've just found everyone's been amazing in terms of, without even asking, just coming up to me, maybe kind of even intuiting where I'm finding difficulty and offering help there, or thinking, okay, maybe James can deal with a challenge in this area, let me challenge him to do this. And it's always been really great. And I've had people come and explain lines of code to me. It's been from very high level to very low level. So yeah, for me, it's the people and support. It's been amazing.
I'll jump in as we had order again. We had this order last time. I think trying to quantify it in words is that whilst there is a hierarchy, that structure doesn't appear on the surface. I mean, I sat and talked to Andrew, our CTO, yesterday for about 10 minutes between meetings, and it's in a lot of companies that's impossible. You cannot speak to people like that there, and you'll casually be sitting beside a director, or as I found out last week, I was chatting to a senior director, which I did not realize, for about half an hour, which is a bit nerve-wracking afterwards. But all of those people with all of that massive experience behind them, and they're chatting to me at this point. I think that's amazing, amongst other stuff, but that's something that really stood out to me. So, Arpana.
Yep. I think for me, it's how you can take ownership of what you're doing, and you're actually given real responsibility from the first day. Like I was told to migrate something which would affect our actual production servers, and I thought that was a bit weird because I just joined, but they actually trust you to do things like that, and you can always ask for help whenever you want if you're stuck. And like James said, they will come and like explain an entire repo to you if you're absolutely lost. And yeah, it was just very surprising to me just how, I guess, like you can do whatever you want, and you're always like encouraged to do more, take risks, things like that. And that was super cool.
I think I would plus one to everything that's been said. I think for me, I think it is the people. I think there is always somebody to learn from. I think is also the really important part there. Is like we can all be kind of teachers as well as we can be learners as well at the same time. So, and I think being able to have that, and yeah, I think that we have a structure, but we definitely try not to enforce that at all. It's not a chain that you've got to go through everybody to get things. And actually, like, some of our biggest kind of innovations come from products has been teams that have gone, we're just going to go try this. And that is where it really truly comes from. And to have that opportunity is absolutely amazing. And I think to work with just really smart, really clever people.
Thank you. Last question from me is, what is one piece of advice you would give to those here on the call still?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'll start again. I'd say one piece of advice. I mean, I guess can I give two pieces of advice? Because I think people on the call are thinking of getting in, and so I want to give one about getting in and then one about once you're in. So I'd say in terms of getting into the field that you want to, or company or whatever, I would say just go for it. I think a lot of people are quite intimidated when it comes to the job hunting section. They're thinking, oh, I will never get into this place, right? I can't do that. Or you ask yourself too many questions and you overanalyze rather than simply saying, I like this opportunity, looks good, apply, and and give your all to that application and see what happens, because you never know. So I'd say that's my piece of advice for getting in. And once you're in your job, you're going to have a lot to learn. But nowadays, in almost every company you join, there's probably going to be a mentoring scheme in place. So my advice is to use that to its fullest potential. A lot of times you can end up having a mentor, having a buddy, and you're kind of just like having a general catch up, or how are things going. And that's not bad, but it's not really the most effective use of your time. So for me myself, I've had some experiences where I've done that. But advice I was given, I think advice maybe by Myra in the grad week. I think I asked a question. You kind of said how you use your mentor. This is so weird. You kind of told me how you use your mentor. It was very structured. You had you wrote things down about what you wanted to discuss, and you had kind of goals. And I did that immediately as soon as I started working in my squad. And I've got like a huge document of all the things we've discussed, all the concepts we've covered, all the things that we're going to go over. And I'm looking over and I'm like, wow, I've learned so much from this person, rather than just, oh, how was your day? How are things going? So yeah, use your mentor or buddy in a structured way, and use it effectively, because they're there to help and they want to help you. Yeah, that's it from me.
I'm going to do the two tips as well. One for the getting in and stuff. I think one tip, if I'd be sitting in your position, is that quantifying the right words is that you're not quizzed to be the best programmer and the best. I think I mentioned this a bit earlier, but I remember having a chat to one of the technical interviews about, I think it was red black trees in an algorithm, and he laughed. He giggled at me and said he didn't know how to do them, and that sort of set the scenes, because you've got all of these interviews for the FANG technologies. I mean, I don't know if there's that many interviewing at the moment, but for these, and they're expecting you to be perfect because they've got tens of thousands of applications every year from people, and that's not what Skyscanner is aiming for. Partly because if you've got people like that there, you have to be able to hit the cultural stuff as well. So don't overthink the technical stuff. Obviously, do some work. They're not there out to trick you. The questions aren't going to be tricky. They're going to be, take them at face value. Maybe think about it a little bit. Hopefully there'll be no tricks in there. But that's my tip on that one. And once you're in, I think it's, network. I think meeting new people and just having a chat and saying hi and understanding the area they're in, and the top 2 or 3 skills that they have. I've learned so much from people after work, just chatting to them about where they came from. What have you done in Skyscanner? Oh, you helped us do sales and Kubernetes. Well, can you chat to me for half an hour on that? And maybe I can get a little bit of information out of there and stuff like that. So meet lots of people and make mental notes or notes on the area that they've worked in and stuff, so you can hop back to that there in the future if you're stuck. Arpana?
I'm going to follow this 2 advice schema as well. So for people who are like, before you join Skyscanner, I think someone brought up that they didn't have any internship experience. And I think that's where personal projects play such a big role, because that demonstrates that you're actually interested in the field that you're applying in. And you also learn something valuable that you can talk about in your interviews. So I think it's important to dabble in at least one or two that you actually care about, because I think for me, I don't have a lot of experience. And when I came in, I relied a lot on my personal projects. So I would say, yeah, just spend a little time in your like a week, maybe like, I don't know, 2 hours a week on a personal project that you're interested in, and it'll really pay off at the end. And as for when you join Skyscanner, I don't know if I can add much because I think James and Adam already covered it. I think maybe just one thing is like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, no one is going to judge you, even if you ask like literally the most basic thing. Like, I think I asked Chelsea the other day if I could enter the office after work hours, which is not a very complex question, but I was like, it's fine. Everyone's there to help you out at the end of the day. So really use that when you can.
I'm going to follow suit, right? You've gone for 2. I can't not do 2 now. So I think my advice to anybody that wants to apply is be yourself. Okay, you're going to spend a lot of time in wherever you choose to go in your career and then the companies that you choose to work for. So I think the most important thing is when you come to interviews is be yourself, and especially for us in Skyscanner, you've probably heard it from everybody here, is our culture is so important, and it is, every company is different. And there's a company there for every single person that matches your own personal values and your kind of principles. So definitely be yourself, because it's an opportunity when you come to those kind of interview processes. You have to like the company as well as the company like you. From that point of view, so it's a two-way street. So definitely be yourself in those kind of exercises if you apply to the company. And I think then once you're here, is about, you will make mistakes, and it's okay. Right, I think that's the biggest thing that I'm a big advocate in. Is a kind of, I talked about, like, that's where I've learned the most. So definitely kind of advocate for people to make mistakes. You're going to be new into an organisation, 100% like agree with everybody. Like, go ask loads of questions, right? Get that mentor in place. I'm really, yeah, that's just a lovely connection, James, in there as well, like from your kind of first week into business. But it is really about you will make mistakes. It's okay. And just talk about them as they actually happen, because we've all been there, and I guarantee you, once you start talking about your mistakes, somebody will have done something exactly the same. There's so much more to learn from it, so you will. But that's really great kind of learning opportunities.
Awesome. I think that's it then. I don't have any more questions for you. If there's any more in the chat, I'll give it like 30 seconds. I'm also a bit unsure how to close this off. But let's see if anything else comes through. But yeah, on the application front, I know that I came up quite a lot in the chat. If you pop me an email, I'm more than happy again to just add you to that list. We should be ready to go by December. Like, I have the assessment centers penciled in to start in January, and so just keep an eye on the website, and I can also get in touch. But yeah.
Also, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, I'm assuming, to anyone, but you're free to, if you have any questions that you don't want to ask in front of everyone else, I'm very easy to talk to. I will, very plain. You know, if you want tips on the interview, I can give you tips on the interview. If you want to ask anything about particular people, all of that stuff, yeah. So feel free to add me on LinkedIn. So
I think there's one more person typing, and then I'm going to close it off. Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for joining, everyone. It was really, I mean, I was going to say nice to meet you, but I've kind of met you on the chat and not seen anyone's faces. But thank you for being here with us. Please do reach out to us on LinkedIn. You're welcome to send me an email, and hopefully we'll see your applications soon.
Thanks. Have a great afternoon.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
bye, guys.
Have a good day.